So thank you for coming to our virtual open day. My name is Dan and I'm the Programme Manager for Agriculture. I'm going to take you through an overview of what the agriculture courses here at Newton Rigg involve and what you would expect to have to do on the courses if you came to us in September. So Newton Rigg is part of the Ask and Bryan College Group. It's the largest specialised land-based college in the UK with 6 locations across the north of England. So there's about 7,000 acres of land and we've got 4 commercial farms. We've also got 350 residential rooms. So agriculture is run at Newton Rigg. We've got about 100 students, 4 teachers, and if you studied with us, you'd expect to kind of cover the following subjects. We're really happy at the moment that we achieved 100% success rate for all of our students last year who studied. So that means that every student who came to us achieved their course. That puts us at the top of all of the national benchmarks. So regardless of what level you enrol on with in agriculture, you would study similar pathways, but with the assessments being different. So all students study health and safety. Obviously, it's extremely important given the industry that we're all interested in. All students study plant and soil science, so that's understanding the science behind the growth of plants and how you manipulate them and the soil in order to get the best returns from your crops. All students also study crops, so the crops that we have in the pictures here are maize, wheat and barley, but obviously the primary crop for this region is grass and clover, so we look into those and treat those as a crop as well. It's looking at, again, the science behind how you grow the best crops in order to get the best production from your animals. All students are expected to do machinery, so there's students using telehandlers to load muck there, spreading muck, ploughing, and then we do power harrowing and other soil cultivations. And then we're starting to do these things called machinery days, so rather than a contractor being expected to stop in the middle of the maize harvest, they would come in at a time which is more suitable to them, bonnets up, demonstrations, and really get a real understanding of how these machines work from the people that use them most commonly. The main reason that obviously most of our students come to us is livestock. So at the dairy farm we have 230 indoor Holsteins, high producing cows, housed all year round, and also their young stock are based at that farm as well. It's probably their young stock that we use most often in our livestock lessons. So students in the bottom here are clipping dairy heifers. Students top left are trimming up some show cattle that we bought last year to do the local shows. We also have a range of beef animals that we have in a roundhouse system and an outdoor system, which you'll see later on when we have the sort of an overview of the farms. We've got students in the bottom left walking the Swales back to the hill. This is our hill farm at Beckside, and also students doing the wallboard shearing courses in the top right. You'd also be expected to do estates, so you'd be expected to do hedging, walling, and conservation activities. So we've got students here making leaky dams on a local estate and planting trees. You'd also be expected to learn how to fence with traditional stock netting. So those units that we've just gone through, they would be assessed by an exam and a synoptic assignment in March. So you would sit an exam like a GCSE. The whole country sits it on the same day. It's usually the first week in March, paper-based, and we, the teachers, don't ever see those exams. They're brought to the centre, they're given to the student, they're sent away, and they're marked externally. And it's marked as fail, pass, merit, or distinction. In the same period, in that March period, you'd also do a synoptic assignment. A synoptic just means kind of holistic, so it'd be assessing you across all elements of the course, both practically and theoretically. So you might do a practical machinery task and a practical livestock and fencing task, but then written assignments about crops. Again, the assignment is fail, pass, merit, distinction, and it's worth 60% of your final grade. The exam's worth 40, so if you pass both of those, then you will get an overall grade for the year. That means from about Easter onwards, we're slightly less pressured. The pressure is to get the content in before those exams in March. From Easter onwards, once you've gone and done your lambing and your Easter holidays and stuff, we come back, we try and have a bit more fun, a bit more relaxed, and you look into the things that you're particularly interested in. So the optional units are either beef or dairy, or sheep and dairy, and you have to pick 2 of those units. And we just look at them in a bit more detail. We go on farm visits, looking at enterprises, looking at different types of enterprises. We've obviously got indoor cows. I tend to do the dairy, and we'd go to sort of grass-based farms and organic farms and just look at all the different ways that people do things. And then you'd have some written reports to do on sheep, beef and dairy. You also have to complete a business assignment, a business unit, and that's got 4 assignments in it. They run for the whole year, and it's the factors that affect profitability and performance and how you analyse gross margins against benchmarks. So by the time you've completed all of that, you should have successfully completed the first year of your course at Newton Rigg, and you can then progress to the second year. So the second year units are animal science, which is in the exam and the synoptic, animal health and nutrition, which is obviously how you manage animals to prevent disease and feed them, waste and pollution, looking at how you make the most of the nutrients that you have on farm in your slurries and your farm and your manures and prevent pollution, obviously. Telehandler and ATV, you would complete both tickets for telehandler and ATV, and also the content of those tickets then is in the synoptic assignment and the exam. And then the remaining content of the course is all assessed via assignment, so it doesn't actually come up in the exam. So grassland, last year we did the grassland unit by going on a week-long visit to the University of Aberystwyth, looking at upland grass. Business project is the tenancy project that we do, working with the National Trust, Barclays Bank and Bowes auction at Wigton. Hope's auction at Wigton, sorry. Specialist project is just where you look at a particular thing that interests you. So we have students looking at whether they can not trim the sheep feet anymore, comparing different breeds. We've got a couple of students this year looking at colostrum powders and which is the most effective. One student's costing out putting in robotic dairy. Whatever it is that you are particularly interested in. Forage crops is a nice, easy unit, which is just looking at forage crops. And then farm habitat management is looking at how you would identify what species are in your locality to your farm, how you'd set up schemes that would benefit them, and how you would try and hopefully improve their numbers. So all of our courses are structured at 3 days a week. We try and protect as much practical time as possible. So the first year you'll be outside about half that time. So outside doing livestock, machinery and estates. The rest of the time, excuse me, you would be doing theory. So your health and safety, business, livestock, crops and plant and soil science. And if you're a level 2, we also would deliver the maths and English within that time as well. All of you are expected to get a work experience placement, which would be about 315 hours, and that equates to about 2 days a week. And that can be on a farm of your choice, ideally not the home farm, because the work experience provider is going to have to give you feedback, and the Department for Education would prefer it if the parent wasn't actually the person delivering feedback. So as well as gaining the qualification, we also try to get you as many industry tickets as possible. So at the moment, we're offering safe use of vet med, telehandler, ATV, and we're obviously working with the British Wool Board to get you your shearing seals. We're really lucky to be supported by some fantastic industry partners. Cars Billington provide us with a range of equipment which we therefore have access to the most up-to-date equipment we possibly could wish for. Lloyd's, a local machinery company, are also very supportive in terms of tractors and different bits of kit and tech. As I said earlier, National Trust, Hopes and Barclays are all very involved in the tenancy project. Harrison and Hetherington provide us with beef cattle, so they'll provide us with about 10 cattle every year that the students can do various feeding experiments on and then analyse the data. And the ADHB provide us with a whole range of the most up-to-date research. We try and go on as many visits as possible to embed what we're learning in the classroom. So if I was, for instance, covering crops and crop storage, we would go and actually look at that on a local farm. But as well as the kind of the sort of day-to-day visits, you know, local farms, auctions, feed companies, etc., etc., we also try and get away to on some residential trips as much as we can. So in the second year, we would tend to go to Aberystwyth to look at grass, and then end the year by going to Ireland. And in the first year, we would go to the Highland Show at the end of the first year and combine that with some farm tours in the Scottish Borders. The entry requirements for the course are as follows. So if you're interested in doing a level 3, you're going to need 4 fours, and that would include maths and English and ideally science. You could also have a level 2, which would give you access to the level 3. If you're interested in doing a level 2, then you're going to need 4 threes, including maths and English and ideally science. Alternatively, if you had a level 1, you could have access to the level 2. We're very aware that there's going to be many issues and sort of circumstances that are going to come up as a result of the GCSE experience that you've had this year. So what I would suggest is don't fret and mither on at home. Give us a ring and we'll discuss everything, you know, on a case by case basis. I'll put my email at the end of this presentation, so just drop me an email and then with a number, and I can give you a call and we can talk it all through. You know, this is not a typical year, so we will be having to look at everything individually. I've just included here a slide on a student who is finishing her level 3 this year. So she's been with us for 2 years. She chose Newton Rigg because she felt it was slightly smaller than the other colleges, and that sort of gave her a bit of a sort of a personal touch. And she found the taster days and open days very encouraging, and she's not from a farming background, so she wanted to be encouraged and supported as she progressed through her studies. She's gained a lot of tickets with us. She's learned a lot about the dairy industry, and she's actually going to progress to Rees Heath, where she's going to be doing a degree in dairy management. She especially enjoyed the accommodation. So she says it's been a great way to become more independent, and it's made her gain lots of friends across all the different courses. So it isn't just agriculture at Newton Rigg. She's made friends across all the different courses that we provide here, which is really set her up for the future. As highlighted there by Imogen, we are a community. It's a smaller campus than other places, so you're going to know everybody and everybody's going to know who you are. And we're very lucky to have on-site accommodation with a range of ensuite and shared bathrooms. The Cumbrian students have access to the free transport, which is reviewed obviously annually based on funding, but currently for this year it's set to continue. We have a student union on site, which does trips and clubs and support. We have a specialist learning support team, and we also have a free careers advisory service. So the course is thorough and hopefully fit to set you up to be a modern agriculturalist, and that's all very important. But one of the most important things that I find is the most enjoyable things that I do is sort of see the friendships sort of forming across the country and across the course groups. So here is our second years that finished 2 years ago, and there's people there that come from all over the north of England who would not have met up if it wasn't for the course. So they've gone from being the only person in their class at school that was into agriculture to being in amongst 100 other students who are all sort of into the same thing as they are, which is really nice to be part of. So I hope that's given you kind of a whistle-stop sort of insight as to what we do and what you might experience should you come to Newton Rigg. If you have anything at all that you want to ask, please just drop me an email and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Appreciate how difficult, obviously, this year is for you. You know, you've had your GCSE year cut short, and you've missed out on a lot of stuff. But hopefully, we can get you to the college and give you the best possible experience. So, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a safe summer.